When you hear what I've got to say, I'm sure you won't be able to turn your head away.
All right, we're back with another episode of The Concrete, episode 49. Another special guest, CEO of Mind Our Own Businesses, LaKesha.
Is there an applause?
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so if I didn't introduce you well enough, let the people know who you are.
All right, so I'm LaKesha. As he said, CEO of Mind Our Own Businesses, which is a Black-owned business directory. I'm from the great city of Chester, PA, born and raised from the class of 1995. 2 children. So woman, mom, boss. That's who I am.
Okay, I couldn't do no better than that, I don't think. So I always like to start off with an icebreaker. For this icebreaker, I was thinking, like, if you could eat one specific food for every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
I'm a foodie.
Okay, me too.
So, every day, I'm gonna have to go with that fried lobster I just had yesterday from the Capitol Grill.
Yeah, you spinning. You gonna fried lobster every day? Oh, all right. Okay.
I mean, if I could just get me a chef like the one at the Capitol Grill. But if I could eat that every day, I would. Too bad I can't get a veggie in there, but
Okay.
maybe I just drink a green machine or something to get my veggie intake.
Okay. So, like you said you're from Chester, PA. Like,
Yes,
how was it growing up in Chester, PA?
For me, I had a great childhood. We had a time. So growing up back in those days, it was like everybody was the village. The whole block was the village. So you were looked after from point A, which was your home, point B being school, and all points in between. Just going through different neighborhoods, walking from the east side to the west side, from the east side pretty much to the McCaff. So somebody was looking out for you throughout that whole stretch. We didn't have the problems we have today, whereas though you can't send your kids outside. We was outside.
Right.
Yeah, we played outside. We was raised outside. That's how we knew how to survive and hustle, from being outside. That's where we got our street smarts from.
Okay. So, just like you said, it takes a village and all those things, but like inside of the household, like who inspired you? Because like we all got somebody, I guess, that inspired us to be like somebody, or inspired us to not be like who was that person that inspired you inside the household?
So it's two. First is my grandmother. Like, she was the matriarch of the family. Mm-hmm. She pretty much raised everybody and everybody's kids. You know what I'm saying? That was, grandma's house was the place where everybody came. Mm-hmm. Dinners were cooked, like big meals were prepared. The love was there, no matter if, the discipline was definitely there with my grandma. Duck, just duck, because something's gonna fly. But it was all love. Like, grandma was grandma. Like, she was definitely the glue that held our family together.
Okay.
And then the other would be my mother, because she was a single mother, as I am. And she did what she had to do to make sure her girls were straight. She was up early morning going to work, dropping us off at school, or walking us to school, to the bus stop or whatever. And then she's in school at night, advancing her career to make sure that we had what we needed to have. So she taught me how, strength. Like, I learned my strength from my mother. I learned how to be a mother from my mother.
Okay. So as far as somebody outside your household you think inspired you, maybe it's somebody famous.
So, first, outside my home was my principal over at the Chester High Academy. So I was the first class to graduate from the Chester High School Academy, and my principal was Miss Pope, Miss Shirley Pope. She was at one point she was a guidance counselor over at the high, but she became our principal once they moved us over to the academy. And if it wasn't for Miss Pope, I can say that the majority of us wouldn't have went to college. She instilled that into us. Like, one, we were always in her office, and she was always giving us gems and dropping gems on us, and like we couldn't sit in her office and idle, like fill out these college applications. Like, college wasn't even a thought in some of our minds. But I can say that if I had to guesstimate, 95% of the graduates out of the Chester High Academy went on to some sort of secondary education to further their education.
Okay.
And then another one that is inspiring, and it's crazy that I met these two women yesterday. One at the flower show. There was a exhibit called BGF, which stands for Black Girl Florist. And I got to meet the owner. Very inspiring, very. And then the other was at the Capitol Grill. I had asked if I could know, who was the chef. Mm-hmm. And he actually brought the chef out to speak to us, and another black woman. And I was totally inspired by both of their stories.
That's crazy. That's the first time probably ever on the Concrete we got somebody that said inspired them probably in the last 24 hours. So you making history.
Oh, wow. That's what I do, though. That's what I'm here for, to make history.
So as far as like high school, just like you said, you had some people in your corner that was making sure you was getting prepared for college, and at least you had those type of aspirations. So once you get to college, where did you go and how was it?
So I went down to Raleigh, North Carolina, to Shaw University. My college experience was amazing. Like, if I could do it all over again, I would do it all over again. And you don't get that in the moment. Mm-hmm. It's like, why am I here? Right. My school had a curfew. Like, I left home from having a curfew. Yeah, and you mean to tell me I gotta be in by 12 o'clock on a weeknight, and I have to be in by 2 a.m. on a weekend? Like, right. Where do they do that at? Right. But at the same time, like, the experience, phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? I met a lot of great people that I'm still friends with today. So I can pretty much travel anywhere because, it's all about the connections and networks that you make while you're in college. You don't look at it like that when you're in college. Like, this is a network for me. I'm building a network. Right. You just looking at it as like, I'm here to have a good time because I'm in college. Because I'm in college. So, but it was amazing. So shout out to my alumni. Okay.
So when you get to college, what did you major in, and how did that go? Because I know we all might go to college for one thing, we might finish doing something else.
Totally.
Or we might not even do whatever we went to college for.
And that's me. You're talking about me. I went to school majoring. If you go look in the 1995 yearbook, it says communications as my major. Mm-hmm. That's what I went to school for. Okay. Mass communications. Took a public speaking class and was like, this is not for me. Like, I don't like speaking in front of people. I'm terrified to speak in front of people. I can't do this. All right. Major change. Yeah. Then I took a biology course. No, I was going to go into elementary education because I like kids. I took a biology course, and my biology professor, she was another person that inspired me. She was on my top. After having her class, I was like, I just felt like I needed to be up under her. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, major change. I'm going to major in biology now because, I love sports. So I'm going to let that lead to sports medicine.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not in need none of that.
Yeah.
So
both fields are successful right now, though. If you did choose to.
Yeah, I wish I could go back and.
So, like, how did that feel though? Like, cause I've been there. I went to college, majored in something, not doing what I went to school for. I never thought I'd be in front of a camera. I'm not the most social person and being in front of camera type guy, but I do this. Shout out to y'all hosts. But I understand like how like that's kind of like depressing, like especially like for you was going down south. Was it kind of like a culture shock, and you gotta go through this stuff? Like it's also a culture shock. You're trying to have fun, but you also trying to make sure you're not down here wasting your time.
So, well, me wasting my time was never like I'm just. I left school. I left home at 17. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So, because of my late birthday. So at 17, I'm not looking at it as I'm going down here wasting my time. I'm getting away from home.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Yeah.
And going down south. It wasn't the furthest I could have went because I was accepted at schools down in Georgia and so forth and so on. But it was a culture shock because I grew up a city girl. Mm-hmm. I grew up in the city life. And I get down here and it's like, oh, this the country.
Country,
yeah. I can't really walk too many places down here. We got to get on this cat bus to take us wherever we need to go because a city block is totally different from a country block. Mm-hmm. And then the people were different. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're in the city it's kind of hard. Not hard, but people are hard. Yeah. We have a tough outer shell and tough skin in the city. Whereas you get down here and it's like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah,
Southern hospitality was on a different level, and I'm looking like, you
hey,
talking to me?
Yeah. Like what?
Hey, how you doing? Like, I like this. I mean, I could get into this. So I honestly think I'm a country girl at heart because I can get with the Southern hospitality and the laid back of the country. It was real laid back, and now I'm real laid back. So
okay, but like I was saying, like how did it feel though? Like when you went to school for something, then when you graduate or leave school, however it turned out, you not doing what you went to school for. Like you're doing something totally opposite.
I mean, that's life. You know what I'm saying? You have to learn how to pivot in life. So just because, I went for mass comm. My dad left a note under my pillow saying marketing is the key. Didn't do that. Switched up, wanted to go into elementary ed. Didn't do that. Switched up, went into biology. Didn't do that after school. Ended up at a law firm as my first job out of college and was like, I like this. Maybe I should do law school. Didn't do that. And now I'm in finance. I work in corporate America in the financial industry. So you just got to pivot with life. And I ended up in finance because I had a mouth to feed. You know what I'm saying? My son was born. So it's like, I got to go where the money resides. Yeah. And they were paying me more than what some other jobs. Yeah. So that's where I ended up. And I'm still in the financial industry.
Okay. So, like, the finance industry, huge. Like, it might not be what you wanted it to be, but how does it, like, I guess, how can I put this? I'm guessing I want to say, how did you use the finance industry to get to mind our own businesses? Like, because I know, like you got to know something about finance to be able to do what you do. So how did you start mind your own businesses with your finance?
Well, it's funny that how I actually came to mind our own businesses is because the mindset of it was tapped in when I got laid off in the financial industry. Okay. After being there for was I there 13 years? 13 years. And in that, like I think I was off for probably a good 7 months maybe. And in that, it was like, okay, I'm looking for different products or services, and I can't find them because I got idle time now.
Right.
Because I'm laid off from my corporate job, and I couldn't find them. And asking people for these types of recommendations on Facebook or whatever the case may be, people weren't so privy to give you that information. So I wanted to create a place where as though you can find our own businesses. And initially I was going to do it for just women, but then I just felt like I couldn't leave anybody else in mind. Our own businesses, like it's for us.
Right.
But being in the financial industry, you know, I was a manager for several years, so I learned how to manage time, people, myself, money. So that all plays into running a business. Like you definitely have to tap into managerial skills.
Right. So now that you mind our own businesses, what how I don't want to say this, what type of things have you learned along the way, as far as like basically like lessons or something that like maybe like lessons or something that maybe like almost steered you away, but you learned something from it?
One of the biggest lessons I've learned is that we are not the biggest supporters of one another.
Right. And what do you mean? You
like,
gotta be specific. You mean what? Black people?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, us. I mean, this is my platform is for us, by us.
Okay.
So we will support everybody else's stuff, everybody else's products, everybody else's services before we support our own. And when I started my platform, I'm thinking I got a real good thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm creating a directory, a black-owned directory for us. Like, for everybody that's out. And it was like in the midst of the pandemic. Everybody was starting businesses in the midst of the pandemic. So it's like, okay, guys, I got a place for us to put all of our businesses in one spot.
Right, you gave us no excuses.
Yeah, and it's like my people wasn't the first ones to jump on it. You know what I'm saying? It's like I get more support from people I don't know versus the people I do know. So that was like one of the biggest lessons I've learned. Like, we don't support one another the way we should. And it almost deterred me. Like, I created this for us, and we ain't jumping on it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna jump on it. Like,
that's definitely like one of those things that might deter you. But I'm guessing I get where you're going at. You definitely gonna learn a lot from it, though. You're gonna learn some good things from it, though.
Yeah.
It's not because you're gonna learn it's bigger than us.
It is.
Yeah, so you can't even get discouraged.
Yeah, you can't, because that can make you want to quit right there. But you got to look at the bigger picture.
Right.
And the bigger picture is still for me to want to put on for all of us. So I can't quit.
Right. So what type of events, like, because I know that you have like certain type of bazaars, you call them bazaars, like,
Yeah.
how many bazaars have you had up to this point, and where do you think the bazaars are going? Like,
So I think, I've lost count, but I think we just did the 10th one, I think. I know it was the 4th annual for the Black History Month.
okay.
Excuse me. So I think it's been 10. We got another one coming up in June, on June the 8th. Where I want to see it go, like, my vision gets bigger and bigger every time, after every event. The first event I started with 16 vendors that rocked out with us. And it was a vibe, even with 16 vendors. We had a lot of foot traffic. We had a good time. It was an experience. That's why it's called the bazaar. It can't be a pop up.
Right.
And this last one, we had 38 vendors. And when I say vendors, like, I'm not even including myself, my partner, it's the DJ, the videographer, the sponsors. Like, so it was 38 vendors, but maybe 45 black-owned businesses that was represented that tied into the entire event.
Right. So basically you're saying y'all actually make it a vibe. Like, it's everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've been before.
Oh,
I
yeah,
recommend y'all go see it. Y'all see what's up with it. Food, bang. The vendors, nice. Everything you gonna find is definitely nice.
So when people say, like, a lot of black-owned businesses have horrible customer service, if you come through the bazaar, you won't see that.
Oh.
It's a standard of excellence.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get bad customer service coming through there.
Right.
Like,
And that's definitely a thing with us. Like,
yeah.
It's like the customer service.
Yeah.
And it's definitely difficult depending on what you do as far as your business, but that's so much of a common denominator with us that it's sad sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's just like you basically chasing away the money.
That part. That part.
So, as far as having a business and bringing all those people together, like, it gotta get hard. So many different personalities. You're dealing with so many different people. Everybody wants to sell so many things. But, like, what do you tell yourself every time, I guess, going into it? Because that's like, just like you said, being a manager or something like that is not easy. Especially when there's a date on it and it's anticipation and it get the countdown coming.
Yeah,
like,
and that's exactly what it is. It's putting managerial skills to work, because our own are not the most easy to work with or deal with. Just like, I mean, it's kind of the flip side of customer service, but it's not. You set a deadline. Mm-hmm. Hey guys, this is the deadline for registration. No.
yeah,
no.
We ain't gonna follow
like,
those.
we ignore dates. We ignore, hard details, hard dates. Mm-hmm. With, like, you register on my website, mindourownbusinesses.com, right? Mm-hmm. And everything is spelled out, and it even says, like, on the very first page, like, please click all the links for all of the details. And I get text messages, phone calls. Hey, how much did you say the event was? Or, what are these details?
Sometimes.
But you clicked at the bottom saying you read everything.
But sometimes certain people be crafty. They'll try to hit you up to thinking that you're going to deter away from what they say right there on it.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, some people be
the
like
price
that.
is the price. It
yeah.
is what it is. Just come on, get on board, and it's going to be an experience. But,
right.
Yeah. But we learn something every single time at every event. Like, it's, every event we've sat back and like, okay, we got to do this. We got to switch up here and do this differently. Like, now I know that this time the registration form, like, I got to do it differently, because I need to make sure that, okay, now you don't have to click a link, because
right.
maybe everybody's not clicking the link.
Right.
I mean, because, most of us want to take shortcuts, you know what I'm saying? And then a lot of people get deterred from filling out something with too many line items. Like,
right.
You got to make it straight to the point, and so forth and so on. So
right.
We learn something different every single time, and we go back and try to revamp. But the vision is way bigger.
Okay. All right. So what's your motivation to keep the bazaar going? Like, I know y'all said y'all had so many, but what's your motivation to keep going and keep it going until, I guess, like, y'all figure out and take it somewhere else? Or
I would love to do that.
Okay.
However, it's about the exposure for our own brands. Like, what all do we have right here as a community that we can put on display and give exposure to and support. Not only that, not only the exposure for the business owners, but the collaborations that come from some of the business owners.
Right.
Because it's all, again, it all ties back to the network. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about networking and expanding the network. So of course you want to keep making that bigger, and you want to keep branding further and further, and until we get it into something like the convention center. Yeah, I'm coming for the convention center.
Okay. Okay. Speaking into
so
the system.
Yeah, I want it big because we have the same products and services, if not better, than anybody else.
Right.
So you could get a t-shirt from the bazaar from one of our own, as opposed to going to Macy's and getting one that's going one in the pocket of Macy's, two in the pocket of that designer.
Right.
That you don't know.
Right.
So you could get quality stuff, quality products, quality services right here at home.
Right.
So why not tap into our own first before you go outside?
Right.
The saying goes, you take care of home first.
Right.
Like, if you don't take care of home, how you gonna take care of anything or anybody else? I don't even trust somebody that don't take care of home first.
Yeah, that's real. So, just like we said, you're a single mother, you're a black woman. Like, how do you deal with that, and also deal with, just what I'm saying, you gotta be a person that's leading, at all times. And just sometimes being in the field that you are in business and stuff like that, being a black woman, sometimes people try to get over on you. So how do you handle that?
It's black girl magic, y'all. We sprinkled with some magic. And that's real rap. We really have some magic within us. We were built for this. We were created for this. The foundation of everything is within us. So, you just got to know how to walk it out. And you got to know what battles are your battles to fight, and what battles you got to, you got to hand over to the Lord.
Right.
Because you can't fight every battle.
Right.
And sometimes you got to put that in prayer and keep it pushing. Life is hard. Life is lifing for everybody right about now. But you can't give up. There's no reward without taking risks out here. So you gotta keep pushing. So that's how I deal with it. We get an obstacle. If you ain't in an obstacle, you about to go into one, or you just came out of one.
Right.
And
it's never ending.
So you gotta just know how to navigate through those trying times, and whatever is. It's like being in the Hunger Games almost. It's just not for being a woman, a black woman, but you saw that Katniss was, the top dog in Hunger Games. It was a woman. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to know how to navigate through life and pray hard.
So, what's next for Mind Our Own Businesses? Just like you said, you want to keep growing and stuff like that, but what's next for the brand?
What's next is me tapping in, really starting to tap into my potential, especially with marketing, because I do so much marketing for other people, because that's what my brand stands on. That I really got to tap into the marketing and branding of Mind Our Own Businesses, and I got to get into some of those rooms that where big decisions are being made, so that I can make my platform bigger.
Right.
The more I know and the more I grow, the more I could pass on to any business owner that comes onto my platform.
Right.
So that's first and foremost, like focusing on branding myself, tapping into, you know, TikToks and
stuff like that.
Yeah, like that's not really my niche, but I mean,
but that's the age we live in right now.
Yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah. Content is major, so I got to start tapping into content.
Okay.
But the end goal, like, is to be like Amazon of Black-owned businesses. So I got some stairs and some levels to climb. So
work is never ending.
So I gotta start making the right connections and being in, you know, other places to get so that we can get there, because it's all for our own.
So like if a person, like what you doing is kind of unique, and just like you said, we need a place where we can get our own stuff. But if a person wanted to, like, I guess, create something to the nature of what you created, how would they do it, or what would you tell them, like some type of advice? It could be anybody, because I feel like what you doing, like, it's no age bracket, it's no, like, the market is the market. Everybody gonna always be creating something. They always gonna need somewhere to sell it. So I think what you're doing perfect, especially for the Black community. So what would you tell somebody that's trying to tap into your world or what you do, or basically?
For any business, if anybody's trying to become an entrepreneur, first of all, do your homework, your market research, and like really know what it is that you want to do. 2, you gotta love it, because if you don't love it,
gotta have a passion.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you could just sit it down and quit on it. 3, network. Talk to people that is doing what you're doing or what you want to do. Do the homework, like get the knowledge from them. Now, everybody's not going to drop all the gems on you, and that's where, you know, your homework comes into place. So do your homework, get in the rooms with people that's doing what you want to do, research, market, educate.
And let the people know if they want to come to your next event. When is your next event? So, and what's the theme of your next event? You said this one was just Black History. So what's the next one?
So we rocking with Juneteenth.
Okay,
like, we do for our own.
Keeping
you know
it black,
what I'm saying?
Man.
We do for our own. So the next event will be on June the 8th at the Leak Center once again. Registration details are not out just yet. So you can't register, but just save the date. So
coming soon.
Yeah, if you just start restocking your products, like, no excuses. Like, have what we need to get out there, or what you need to get out there. And you could be a first time vendor, or this could be your 50th time vending. But registration details are coming soon. You'll see it on my Instagram, MO2B Directory, on my Facebook, or on my website, mindourOwnbusinesses.com. We're everywhere. So stay tuned. June 8th, the pre-Juneteenth Black-owned business bazaar. We like to get, you know, the smoke before the fire.
Right. So this is episode 49 of The Concrete. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Appreciate my special guest, CEO of Mind Our Own Businesses. Make sure you tap in with her. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all.